Okay, guys, we're tuning in earlier than I anticipated throwing out another Sisters episode, but these so far have been really, really fun to record, and I'm getting a lot of feedback that you guys are loving them. So we kind of are here with you today for an emergency Sisters chat, and I'm going to sort of let my sister take the mic on this one, but I woke up yesterday morning to several voice messages from you, and we discussed it and figured that now and this whole platform and reason why we want to do this podcast and share our stories is to use this space online to talk about real life things that happen and situations as moms and wives and entrepreneurs. Anyway, so something happened to my sister recently and we want to talk about it and hash it out. So here we are. Dre, welcome back.
Thanks, Emma. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I love sister chats.
Welcome to At Home with Emma Rose. Your host, Emma Rose, has learned everything she knows the absolute hardest way possible and will help you navigate through the process of clearing the clutter, calling out your well-worn habits that might need changing, and finding the path to real, sustainable success in your business and life. Here's your host, educator, photographer, web designer, and latte lover, Emma Rose.
So, you just take it away, girl.
This is hard for me because I tend to, if you know me at all, you know I'm a really direct person. And you also know that I don't get caught up in drama or girl problems or any of these things, primarily because I don't really have space in my life for it. I think maybe the last time I've had mean girl type situations was middle school. I think even in high school, I somehow managed to avoid a lot of it, maybe through playing sports. And then in college, same thing. I tended to have groups of friends in different areas. I never felt like I was caught up in the theatrical struggle that I think can be girlhood and teenagehood. Maybe also because we had sisters. You know, I was lucky enough to have two amazing sisters and a very, very amazing mom and dad who listened to us. And I think we're able to curb a lot of situations before they got to us in that way. So before something became toxic, I think we were able to figure out a solution. And we had good guidance as far as kind of walking away. So my purpose in sharing this story is not to bring someone else down or make someone else look bad or feel bad. But what I hope by sharing this situation and what happened to me, I can bring to light the fact that women can really hurt one another. And I've had a few situations recently that are, mom shaming type situations, but I have never really experienced this kind of pain or humiliation just for existing, just for being me. And so I'll go ahead and start my story, and you all can bear with me as I stumble through it because it is awkward and it's a little bit, difficult to share something personal that happens to you. So raw. Emma, I think we decided this might be our first real raw episode.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think connection is important, and using this space as a space to share it all because this one's raw.
Yeah, so
I love you.
I love you. I will start to explain a little bit more. I know some of you may have tuned in on the first episode, but if you haven't, I'm Andrea. I'm Emma's sister. Emma's my youngest sister, and she is so creative and fun and has really taken this amazing creativity to the next level through her podcast, through her company. And I really am thankful for that opportunity to be here and listen or, be sharing this through Emma. So I'm one of 5 kids. We are two of 5 kids, and I'm the oldest girl. I've tended to do life pretty much by the books. Played sports in high school, went to college. I rode for the University of Washington, met my husband, who I love. We've had 4 kids. He went through medical school later in life after leaving the field of architecture. And we now are in Seattle while he finishes residency. We're halfway through, but we've moved a lot. I've had to make new friends along the way. And if any of you moms out there or dads know that feeling of you start somewhere, you have to make new friends, and it's really hard sometimes. You don't know where you fit in. You don't know who your people will be. You want a tribe. You want that support. You want to be loved and have your kids be loved by the community. Yet sometimes you don't know where to start. So I think Arizona was an awesome practice situation for me because I met some amazing, really amazing people. And we knew, though, that we weren't going to be there forever. So mistakes that I may have made or navigating situations, I think I was a little bit more capable of saying, oh, shit, shoot, I'm sorry, Emma.
You're good. Let's say shit. It's fine.
Okay. I wasn't sure on this. I do have kind of a potty mouth sometimes. I'm working on that. When we moved to Seattle, I've really felt embraced. I have felt loved by the community. I have an amazing CrossFit gym that I go to where people have just been supportive and flexible. And the school that we go to, a Seattle public school system school, just so much community here and so positive and so embracing. Our kids are thriving. My husband loves his residency. I'm loving the community and feeling like I do belong here. I've tried to join different things, through my church and doing book clubs with my girlfriends and just meeting up with friends for coffee and trying to embrace the mom life because let's face it, I left my physician assistant job 2 years ago and now I'm at home and I run a business from home. But sometimes, you really need to fill your bucket socially with friendships. So
I've been very inspired by you and putting yourself out there in these networks. Like I've been seeing you, these meetups, and that's hard to do with not just the amount of kids you have, but schedules and stuff. So, I mean, you've really been putting yourself out there and I can attest to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm making it a priority. And the other thing is I used to do CrossFit later in the day. I would go to the 9 a.m. class and I would haul a couple of kids usually with me. Our oldest is 7. Our youngest is 1. This fall, I decided, hey, I really need more time in the day to do my work, to take kids to doctor's appointments, to go volunteer in the kids' school, or do things that I want to do. So I decided to start doing a 5 a.m. workout class, which if any of you wake up that early, I used to rowing, but I had told myself years ago that I'd never do that again. Why would I do that? That's insane. Why would you wake up that early? But I started doing it and it really started to fit with my life. I was getting, I'm going to bed earlier, trying to. It is a juggling act a little bit with sleep because if a kiddo's sick or something, you do have to, make sure that you're trying to get enough sleep and exercise. So the bottom line is, you guys, I take care of myself. I try to. I love exercise. I love going to the gym and feeling like a beast and lifting weights. And when I go to the gym, I wear the typical CrossFit outfit. So this is where we are going with this is I went to a women's meetup. I'm just going to say that. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus or make this too specific. So I went to this women's meetup on Friday and I had kind of a tough week. Our car actually got broken into in Seattle. Our window was smashed in. I've had a couple of sick kids, but I almost canceled. But last minute I said, you know what? I really should go. So I showered because I actually had poop on my, whatever I was wearing, workout clothes or jeans or something, because we were in the park and Grace pooped her pants and I thought it was dog poop. I looked down and I was like, what is that? Because my husband was starting night shift. So he's like, and then Grace had wiped it on his pants.
Oh no.
So it was just this whole, you could call it a shit storm. But we got everyone home, bathed the kids. I was like, I'm going to shower. And I actually spent some money on myself recently and bought a few sundresses. And they're really cute. They're from Bowden. I love their selection. So this dress I decided to put on. And you guys, I felt so good. I was like, I may have had poop on me an hour ago, but right now I'm feeling good. I'm wearing a dress and I've got a bottle of rosé in my backpack and I am walking out. And I walked in and the people that I know, and the woman's home is lovely and everyone was so nice and just really welcoming and excited. And then there were still a few guests that needed to arrive before we could start our discussion. And so when they arrived, one woman said to me, wow, you in a dress, that's a sight. Okay, you guys. When your sister teases about, wow, you clean up well, or your best friend says, wow, you look awesome. Like all I've seen you in are gym clothes recently. Like I'm really impressed to see you out trying here. You look like
a
boss.
compliment. Even, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this was not a compliment. And you all know, men and women, you know that feeling where you're sort of like, oh, that was not very nice. But I kind of laughed it off and I decided, maybe she's just having a bad day or maybe she just doesn't know how to converse properly. I decided to laugh it off. But I also want to point out here, you guys, that I am a mom who rides on a bicycle with my 4 children to school every day. 2 of our kids ride their bikes. I have an electric bike. It is so dorky. I have a helmet on every day. I have like 14 jackets, most often of which are my husband's because they're baggy and they can go over all my clothes. So like I am as unsexy as any mama gets at 7:45 in the morning. You know what I mean? Like not trying to impress anybody, let's say that. Although I feel pretty cool on the bike. It's really fun. So
I think it's badass.
Thank you. So my wardrobe is, I'm trying to paint the picture of who I am and what I look like.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I roll in from the gym at 6 a.m. and sometimes I'm out there watering my grass, sometimes I still have those CrossFit booty shorts on.
Mm-hmm.
So then later, we're all sitting around and there's a group of about 10 women at this point, and we're sitting in this living room and we're discussing the topic at hand. And suddenly the conversation turned toward neighbors and who I live nearby and all of these things. And this woman made a comment and said that I need to be careful about how I dress. She said, you should be really more careful about how you dress. I literally thought I was hearing something else. I was
like, is this really like, are you asking me this question?
Yeah,
right? Or
so I
are you saying this to me?
Right. So I stopped I said, and at this point, there were only a few people really actively listening to what our conversation was because there were side conversations happening. But this woman said to me, and then I said, excuse me, did I just hear you say, are you talking about how I dress? And she said, yeah, how you dress. You need to be more careful about how you dress. Your neighbors talk about you. And my face got beet red.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
I know that feeling.
So embarrassed about I'm racking my brain. I'm like, was I out there naked last week? You know what I mean?
Right.
As absurd as that all is, I'm like, what is going on? Why can't I think of when I was dressed inappropriately? I'm wearing this dress right now. Maybe this is scandalous. I started to, and so I said to her, I said, are you saying my clothes are slutty? Giggling.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, I didn't say that. And I said, what are you saying? And she said, it's your shorts. Your shorts are too short. You guys, pin drop, mic drop. My shorts are too short, lady. Okay, first of all, the only time I wear shorts in Seattle are either A, when I'm running with my jogger, again, 4 kids, sexy AF, right? And I'm tall. I'm almost 6 feet tall. So any Target brand short is going to be athletic wear on me. It's not...
Well, and we'll go back to you talked about this, the reach rule in high school. We always, us girls used to get in trouble all the time. So basically if you stood up and your fingers were longer than your shorts, you would be sent home or you'd have to change. And when you have super long legs, I mean, we would have had to wear border shorts every day.
Totally. And have you ever worn Bermuda shorts? Those border types that are long, you don't
so
feel
uncomfortable.
good. They're uncomfortable. They're up in your crotch. None of it works. Okay. So I've always been confident in my legs. There's no butt cheek showing. And even if there were, that's my prerogative. And so I had to kind of take a deep breath, and I got myself out of the situation with the help of a friend who stood up and said she needed to leave and was looking at me, and we walked out together. And then I just started bawling. I started bawling about the question of, are my neighbors talking about me? What is happening? Why is this happening to me right now? And I want you to just kind of put yourself in that situation of feeling so vulnerable. these raw feelings from high school or whatever, we were talking about back in those middle school, trying to figure yourself out days, coming back when you're 34 years old, super awkward and uncomfortable and scary. And so I sat on it. I'm closing the story out by saying one of my neighbors who I love, I actually had a really wonderful conversation with her. And this person is not a nice person. And that's all I'm going to, this is not a situation that I think is typical of my community or my neighborhood. But what happened, I just feel like was clearly bullying, and whatever the intent was, it was hurtful. And I want to stop for a minute and celebrate the fact that women are amazing. And when you see another woman on the street who is rocking it or working her butt off to make something happen for her family or exercising, we don't need to cut each other down. If I want to walk out in a paper bag, then that should be my choice. If I want to wear booty shorts around, that's my choice. My body is not a sex symbol. My body is my body. And Emma, do you have any other thoughts about that? I mean, I've just been really mulling this over about how women's bodies are our own. And
I've been mulling it over since I got those messages from you. And I was walking out the door shortly to go run that race yesterday, which I can't move my body today, but just crying in the reality that this even happened, especially at our age. And this is such a real thing that people do experience. And we don't have time for it or the space or energy to deal with that. And I'm just like, as your sister, when I heard your story, and I'm really glad that you've taken the time to sit on this for even a day or two before, blasting something on Facebook. We're like, no, we're going to think this through and talk about it in a way that can empower other women to feel good, and embrace who they are and not care about people who are only in it to make you feel bad. It's not worth it. And I'm really proud of you. I was going somewhere with that you took this as an opportunity to pat yourself on the back and to continue doing the things that serve your life and fuel your life. And I think the biggest topic in all this is your exercise. And that is nobody's business but your own and your family, and shame on this person who made you feel this way, but you handled it with grace and your head held high. And I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you. And I think just when I think about, the days of, you're a high schooler playing competitive volleyball and you're wearing tiny Spanx, that's your uniform. That's your body in a uniform. Your body is a machine. When I started rowing, the race outfit, you can't wear loose shorts in a boat. If you know anything about crew, you know that the seat slides on tracks, and men and women wear spandex. That's what you wear. If you're a swimmer, you're going to wear an itsy bitsy swimsuit. If you are a gymnast, you're going to wear a tiny outfit. And if I'm a CrossFitter who's mediocre at best, but if I'm doing any kind of Olympic weightlifting, I am going to wear what works for that. And that's nobody else's call. I think the thing that keeps hitting me is who gets to decide what a 34-year-old mom dresses like? Who gets to decide what my wardrobe consists of? If somebody cares that much about how I look, what is that? What does that say? And I think my voice hopefully can be empowering to others. Do you have a friend who cuts you down? Do you have a woman in your life who makes you feel bad? Stand up to them. You don't have to do it in a mean way. You can be real. You can be you, and you can stand up against bullying. Because that's what this is. Our kids, we also have been reflecting on the fact that I'm raising 3 girls, and they're going to be tall girls too. What does that look like for how we teach them about body image and what our bodies can do? I wrote something that's going on Emma's blog page. I think about the time that I had our 4th kid, I realized that our bodies are just so amazing. And
truly amazing. And I've experienced that, in the last year and a half on my own journey. And treasuring that body and taking care of that body, and how much differently I look at myself now in terms of wanting to, just how taking care of yourself trickles into everything, and how we are a temple and taking care of that temple in our own way. So did you want to tell the story? You told me that sweet story of Lily, and maybe wrap it up sort of with that.
Oh, this is a good idea. Yeah. Okay. So my daughter, our third kid, just turned 4 last week. And something, as I was mulling all of this over, that stuck out to me was this vision I had last week when I picked her up from school on her birthday. Her teacher had made her a crown. And my daughter comes out of preschool so discombobulated. That's like every day she's the last kid. Her hair is all over the place. She's trying to put her helmet on her head because we bike back. She has all these trinkets that she's not even supposed to bring to school yet somehow, because she's the third kid. I don't know. They're like in this bag that she ends up with. And she just has all this stuff, let alone a paper crown that is in her hand. And I'm watching her kind of stumble out, and she's just got this frustrated look on her face, or sort of just dazed look. And I thought, man, I really want to go help her. But I'm on the other side of the fence. I can't really do anything. This darling little girl walked up to her, helped her with her belongings, took the crown, put it on her head, adjusted it so it was just right. And I just thought, as they walked away holding hands, and they ran up to us and they were like, "Can we do a play date?" And the joy that came from both of them lifting each other up was absolutely amazing and infectious. And my cry to women out there is, let's do that to each other. Let's not try to take each other down. Let's be positive. Let's bring each other up, and let's fix each other's crowns when they're not right. So,
girl, my eyes are welled with water right now. I just, gosh, yeah. Life's too short to like bring each other down, and there's power and beauty that comes when we support and we love each other. And man, goodness, I'm just, again, sorry that happened to you, but I'm really proud of how you're looking at it all. And
I think it happened for a reason. You know, I
do too.
Meant to share this with other people who are going through much worse, terrible things than I went through, really. And maybe who don't feel like they can voice their big girl voice.
100%. So thank you for sharing that. And again, we're coming at you with a emergency sisters chat, and I'm going to get this up for Wednesday's airing, and it will be minimal editing because I just wanted it to be raw.
You're welcome. Man, I love you.
I love you. So closing out, head over, you guys, to the blog for the show notes. Andrea, I don't even know what you've written, but I can't wait to see it. I'm going to just put it on the blog, you guys, for this episode, so you can read her thoughts in more detail over there. And thank you so much for tuning in. And if you guys are loving these sister chats and the podcast overall, please subscribe in iTunes and leave a review with 5 stars. It's really the only way to help it grow and to be heard. And I think women need to hear this, not just the podcast, the entire podcast, but this episode specifically. I hope it hits the ears of many women across the world. So thank you, Andrea.
Thank you, Emma.
Thanks for listening to At Home with Emma Rose. Visit athomewithemmarose.com and dive into the show notes for every episode. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.